Well, hello to all good people of the world. This is Paul Whittakin returning to you with the universal law of numbers. I'm just going to check this out. No, I can't see that perfect. Okay, so basically what we're going to be discussing today is the 369 code, otherwise known as the universal law of numbers, the periodic table of numbers, and so forth, which I contest is the fundamental law of mathematics, the fundamental law of science, the fundamental law of the universe, of nature, and it comes from the universe itself. So I got the universe backing me up on that, by the way. So what does this universal law of numbers matrix represent? Well, we can leave that to everybody's own discretion, but it certainly represents the universe of numbers. And if you want to correlate that to anything else, then that's certainly your prerogative. But in any event, the universal law of numbers matrix represents the entire universe of numbers, simply because what it does is it revolves in this direction, back and forth. It revolves in this direction. It revolves in this direction. It revolves in this direction. And it creates repeating sequences that continue on to infinity in all directions. As a matter of fact, I'm only talking about these directions, but in reality, whatever all directions means, I think the universal law of numbers has that code within it. It's just probably too complicated for human beings to be able to visualize any kind of an image of what the universal law of numbers talks about. Now, it talks about something that we're all familiar with. It's basic, pure mathematics. So we've all come into contact with mathematics to one level or another, but this mathematics everybody can understand. So I just try and give some brief description of what we're talking about when I say this is the 369 code, and then I will show you how simple that is to understand, and then I will start to illustrate for you how in reality, even though the foundation is simple, it addresses all of the most profound, complicated theories and theorems or whatever formulas, laws that we have in the universe, in the world of science and mathematics, for instance. Okay, so what we have is we have these codes, and the codes are 147258, 181818, 1, 4, and 7 combined to give 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1, and those are all manifestations of the 369 code. What we understand is that if we are to apply basic arithmetic codes upon codes, they will always give us the codes. And the reason for that is just the way that the numbers 1 through 9 work. And it's all very self-explanatory. And this is what we encounter here, because the question is, I'm almost implying as though everybody in the world has learned mathematics incorrectly. So we can address that, because actually I can't deny that I'm implying that. So what I'm implying is one of two things. Either this was completely overlooked, or that it's so fundamentally and intuitively understood and taken for granted that we don't have to cover this. But in reality, we don't cover mathematics like this at all. For instance, there's an elephant in this room here, because we have x squared, x to the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Then it reverts back to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, on to infinity, as do all of the other ones. This is a perfect symmetrical machine, so to speak. And this machine has 9 units going this way that repeat to infinity, as do all of these lines. And all of these lines going down and all of these lines going up have sequences of 6 dimensions, and back 9 in this direction, repeating to infinity. So there's this universe, as described by the universe itself, has these 6 repeating dimensions on top of the first dimension. So I'd like to point out that that's what it is telling us it has, not Einstein or anyone else for that matter telling it what it is, and that's a distinction I make. And that's why this is a fundamental law of mathematics, and it's not theoretical at all. So I will go on and proceed to just show us simply what happens here, but just for first timers, just to get the picture, 2 doubles is 4, doubles is 8, doubles is 16, doubles is 32, doubles is 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, etc., etc., etc. So that's how all of these lines are doing this. If we take the first line going across, it's 149779419, because it's 149, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, back to 100. 1 plus 0 is 1. 121, 1 and 2 and 1 is a 4, and that's how that continues on to infinity. Okay, so once again, these are the codes, and I'm going to also mention that in addition to these codes, I'm going to get today to explain to us in general what is 149779419. That's my objective, and you will see that I go about it. I'm backing it up with just basic, very simple arithmetic, but we're going to get to something that's not such kindergarten arithmetic at all. Anyway, if we look at these codes 147 and 258, we will understand 369, 147, 258, 369. They're literally the same code because they're the same sequence of numbers. They just have a different starting point. Here it starts at 1, here it starts at 2, here it starts at 6. Okay, so now we're beginning to understand, because every number in the world that ever existed, no matter how many zeros or decimal places or anything like that, it ever had exponents on top of it or weird kinds of scientific notation, it's going to reduce to a number between 1 and 9. And now we're even breaking it down even further. And that's what the universal law of numbers teaches us. It teaches us to look at the entire universe, but we automatically get this condensed form where all of the numbers are simply following this sequence. As they do, as they have, as they always will, as they have forever, right? Okay, so the universal law of numbers, it actually opens up a rabbit hole that gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, because there are certain types of mathematical calculations that you might do using the 369 code that don't abide by conventional mathematics, because what it's doing is it is formulating building blocks, and in those building blocks the arrangement and the order of the numbers actually means something. So this is the thing that we overlook in mathematics, that in so doing reveals to us the 369 code. What we're doing is we're reducing the number, okay? And when we're reducing the number or numbers, we might pay attention to the arrangement, because the arrangement is it deals with the building blocks. Okay, we're not going to get into that one today because that's beyond the focus of this one lesson. Okay, so basically, the number system has an order, and this is the order of the number system. This is the 369 code universal law of numbers matrix in conventional terms, but it's showing you which numbers are the perfect squares. So we're beginning to see these building blocks that they emanate out into infinity and in the opposite direction as well, getting smaller and smaller and smaller. That's what it does. It shows us the fabric and the design of the universe. So now I'm just going to show you the basic arithmetic, why it works, and don't be offended if it appears to be kindergartenish, because in a sense it is so easy to understand. It is kindergartenish in the beginning. 2, 5, 8, 3, 6, 9, and 4, 7, 1. Those are all manifestations of the 369 code. Now you will see how the 369 code manifests itself, and it appears in different forms, but you should recognize it as the 369 code just by being familiar with these codes. 147, 258, 181818, and that combines to 248751, which is the 369 code. 2 and 4 is 6. 8 and 7 is 15 is 6. 5 and 1 is 6. 666, that's the 369 code. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm adding all of the numbers 1 through 9 to the numbers 147 in this fashion, but understanding that any number that reduces to that number becomes that number, behaves like that number, within a couple of different restrictions, but in effect, they're the same number. If I take the number 10, well, that's 1 and 0 is a 1, and, 73 is a 1, 82 is a 1, 64 is a 1, 55 is a 1, 46, 37, these are all ones, and it doesn't matter how big the number gets. That's what we're understanding here. So it's not just 4 plus 1 equals 5, duh. But anyway, we will go ahead and I will just show what happens when we add and multiply any number 1 through 9 to the codes, and we're always going to come across the codes. Okay, so you can see the code there, I hope. And there. So now we're just adding to 2, 5, 8, and we're getting the codes. And the codes can always be broken down as well. For instance, if we look at this 10 and 5 is 15, that's a 6. I see that's a 9, and 1 and 4 and 7 is 12, which is a 3, so it goes 6, 3, 9. So there's always the underlying codes as well, and that's what I'm trying to point out when I demonstrate what happens when we add the numbers 1 through 9 to the code 181. Well, it appears initially that it's not showing the code. But if we just look one step further, we will see how the code reveals itself. Because the code is omnipresent. It will never let you down. So what the discussion back to whether or not we all learn mathematics incorrectly or not, I'm just saying, okay, so here I see this thing, maybe you see it as well. We see the codes, I'm showing you that. And if you see the codes and I see the codes, why didn't they show us the codes when we were growing up in school? Now, there can be very good reasons, justifiably, for that, but not necessarily for the benefit of everyone involved. Okay, so now I just did the numbers 1 through 9 times 818, and we can see the code appearing there. If we do 1 plus 3 to 6, 369 through 9, we get always the 369 code. These are all the codes. 471, 582, 693, 714, redundant, sure, but it shows us the reason why, and that's all. And it's so It's so simple to understand, and it's so true. Yet we may be overlooking this truth because it leads to something that gives us a far deeper understanding of the world that we live in once we get a grasp of this symmetrical perfection that we receive with the 369 code. Okay, so I'm just continuing. There won't be that many more of them, but here we have times 181, and that gives us an interesting sequence. It gives us a sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but I remind those out there who forgot that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is also a code that we're all familiar with. And when it's times 818, it's just backwards. 876, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's what it gives us. Okay. I don't even think I've finished it off there, but that's what it would give us there. And now we're going to multiply the numbers in this fashion. And we'll arrive also at the 369 code. So I'll just show you that's times 147, times 258, times 181, times 818, times 369. And now we're going to get on to part of the main topic of today. And one of the reasons I presented you with that background was because what we established there was no matter what number we multiply by the codes, if they're in the sequence, then they will always arrive at the code, right? So now we look at another code. So what is the 149779419? Well, it's a code. Okay, so this code, what do we just do the same thing and we see if we arrive at the codes, and then we'll know that we arrive at the codes. And we do arrive at the codes, that's times 1, but I'm going to point out that in this 369 arrangement, basically we have the 1 number, which is in the 369 position. But if we do add threes together, it becomes a 3. And I think it's fair to say that this is the 369 code as well, because it gives us 369963. Okay, it's separated by those 2's. When we add it to 3, it's 471174, but separated by the 369 number, which is a 3. And 3 3s is a 9. In this case, the 2 gets in the way, or it's in the 369 position. So 58228. Okay, what the 2 is, so 582285, where the 4 is in the 369 position, but 3 4s is 12, and 1 and 2 is 3, so it's 369 number, and it just goes like that. So that's what happens when we add 1 through 9 to the code 149779419, and it always gives us the code. And the same thing will happen if we multiply it by the numbers 1 through 9, and the numbers 1 through 9 represent the entire universe of numbers. So now we see that it's giving us what is it giving us? Okay, 285582. So that's the 285 code, and it's separated by the 9 in that position. Here we get a 339339339, which is definitely the 369 code. 471 and 174 separated by 9's. And we're just going to go to the end there, and we're going to see that we're going to come up with the 369 code. And there is a deeper meaning, because this whole thing, each one of these can be studied in detail, because everything is following this multi-dimensional sequence that has been designed for us by the universal law of numbers. And the universal law of numbers, to me, is a representation of the universe, and we describe the universe with numbers oftentimes. So we're going to look at 149779419, and we're going to just get an idea what it is, a little bit about it. Now, if we square 149779419, we're going to get 179449719. And if we do that to 179449719, it'll come back to 149779419. The 159 goes to 179, the 129 goes to 149, the 189 goes to 189, and the 119 would go to 119, 119. And that's just how the 149 works in that case. So we'll derive it in a different way. Okay, so let's see how the 149779 relates as far as the 369 code. Well, we know if we just square numbers, we're going to get 149779419. But let's just square 3, 6, and 9 numbers. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27 reduces to those numbers. And if we reduce each one of those by 9, we're going to come back with 149779419. So this sequence 149779419 is in the squared position. But squared, that's also the same as the 8th. X to the 8th, x to the 14th, x to the 20th, x to the 26th, on and on and on forever. It's a repeating sequence. And that's the very important part, because that's the distinction that the universal law of numbers describes to us in the world that conventional mathematics does not acknowledge. Because if we get one of these continuous series going to infinity, as I will show you, one that we're going to a certain number, in conventional mathematics, it's implied and inferred that that's where it ends. And I'm going to give you an example of that. But in reality, it does not end. It repeats and repeats and repeats according to this law, the 369 code, which is the universal law of numbers given to us by the universe. And that's why I point this out. And we can pay attention to what the universe gives us as well. As we should. Okay, so now I did that. Now I want to show you what this thing actually turns out to be if we make a matrix out of that. Those were the results. And you can see that you're getting, well, it's going to be the 369 code for sure, but it's going to show us some other interesting things too, I think. Let me look. This is the plus, when we did it with the plus. Let's look at that for a second. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3 through 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's an interesting sequence for sure that it gives us. And here I just see different 369 code, the basic ones. 147, that's the original, 285 and 582, 339, 471 and 174, 528 and 825, 669, 669, 714, 417. So it's giving us the 369 code, and that's basically, I think, what I was trying to point out there. Okay, so this 149779419, it has a very important place in what we refer to as mathematics and science, because basically it's talking about the inverse square law. And this is how I turn that into the correlation, at least. We can have this correlation. Euler discovered that if we go 1 over 1 squared plus 1 over 2 squared plus 1 over 3 squared plus 1 over 4 squared to 1 over 9 squared, we're going to come up with 1.64, which is pi squared over 6. So now we're seeing that this inverse square law has a relationship to pi. And I like to point out, because even though I don't understand how the whole thing works, that all of the geometrical arrangement, geometry and trigonometry are perfectly described by this universal law of numbers if one is able to understand that, and also beyond imagination, because we cannot conceptualize geometry and trigonometry in these 6 dimensions. We can only attempt to do that. But what we see here is that I turn it into, I just reduce it and I come up with 1 over 1, 1 over 4, 1 over 9, and we get 1 over this 149,779,419. But the difference is here, for instance, when it gets to 9, it comes out to that 1.64, and that's what pi squared over 6 equals. And I do agree with that. But when you understand it in terms of the 369 code, you will understand that that repeats to infinity. It doesn't end at 1.64, then it does it again. Because 1 over 10 and 1 over 11 and 1 over 12 squared, 1 over 13 squared, 1 over 14 squared, it's all the same. 1 over 1 squared is the same as 1 over, well, is the same as 1 over 10 squared. In terms of the number reduced, because 10 is 1 and 0. 1 over 11 is 1 over 121, and 121, 1 and 2 and 1 is a 4. And 1 over 27, well, 1 over 3 squared is 1 over 9, fine. And then square that, and we're going to have 81, which is a 9 as well. In any case, it continues on forever. And this law of the inverse square that we're talking about here, the inverse Pythagorean theorem, well, it's related to the inverse square law, and that's how they get it. But it applies to light, it applies to sound, it applies to electricity, it applies to gravity, and if one were just to for instance, just Google that, the inverse square law, you're going to get a lot of descriptions of it, and it's going to look like this, pages and pages of this, as it applies. It's like the most basic law in mathematics, along with exponential growth or whatever. It's just the basic law. It's a basic law of mathematics and science, and we can see it demonstrated in many, many different ways, because the force is proportional to the distance between objects. And we know that objects have forces between them, like this one. And even though they may be invisible, we understand that they're there. Now, as far as the inverse square law goes, it pertains to things like Coulomb's law. It's like the most basic law of electricity. It applies to gravitational force. That's where that comes from. This here comes from 149,779,419 because it's the foundation. Okay, so how does the universal law of numbers fit into these conventional mathematical models? Because one of the reasons you could argue that people don't learn about it is because it has no connection to the rest of what we consider conventional mathematics. But in reality it does. And I've shown in a previous video how the Fibonacci series, it just follows the 369 code, just like that, 157842 and 181818. Well, that's 248751, 248751. And how Euler's number follows the 369 code. It's really just, you can take it right off of that. It's 248751. And now I'm trying to connect and show you how 19149779419 also fits into the 369 code. Now, as far as Newton goes, who gave us, these basic laws, really, and others just copied them or found other applications for them, he had another understanding of the inverse square law, because he described another force like gravity, like electricity, central force is what he referred to it, and that this one here follows the inverse cube law. So I guess that's what it's referred to now, is the inverse cube force law, which was also come up with by Newton, but I don't know to what extent it's entered into the modern day curriculum or not. But if you want to know where the inverse square law comes from, it's 149779. And if you want to know where the inverse cube law comes from, well, it comes from right here, because this is the inverse cube law right there. That's what it's addressing, because those are the numbers cubed. And okay, so why would we have not been taught about the 369 code? I don't really know, folks, but you can make up your own mind. But I think anybody with any kind of general awareness of their surroundings would understand that everything that we were taught in school was very much about indoctrination and learning things according to a certain narrative. So one of the things I would say to you is, we're going to get a different perspective if we learn the 369 code, because everything seems to fit together in such a way that you do not need to study advanced mathematics and science to start to contemplate what this thing is, what these things are, that the issues they address in the highest order of mathematics and physics and chemistry, etc. Okay, you can begin to understand better this matrix, then you will begin to understand better this world, and you will begin to understand better this universe, and you will begin to understand better that these things are not so coincidental per se. So if you see a number like 181,818, you will automatically, it will pop up to you, well, that's what that is. That's a code. And if you divide it by 9 or 6 or 3, you get these interesting combinations. And if you were to divide it by 2 or 5 or 4, you'll get these interesting combinations. Because